What's up, everybody? We're here in the dining room again because I had just finished up the NA portion of our dyno. So now it's time to put the blower on and see how much power this thing's gonna make without splitting the block in half, preferably. So we got our Torque Storm supercharger right here, ripping and raring to go. Just got to put it back on just with literally 3 bolts, no biggie. We'll put that back on. I've got some tubing here to hopefully make our lives easier. Got some nice cast 90s here that I'd like to configure in some way. And I consulted some more with my dad and some other people, and they're telling me that on the fuel that I'm running, which is E85, probably when I take it to the track, it'll be race grade E85, so not pump E85. But on the street and whatever else, and we'll even dyno test it with pump E85. Don't really need an intercooler because that blower will make significantly more power than what we're going to be running it at, which means we're not going to be working the blower as hard. We're not going to be building as much heat. If I can get cool air to the blower, meaning not off of the header, preferably out of the atmosphere, out the hood, we should be good to go with no intercooler. So I'm going to go ahead and put that blower kit back on and start fabbing up tubing. All right, guys, we got this thing ready to weld up now. So I've got some marks on there. I've got it taped exactly pretty much how I want it. Now all we need to do is go over there and I'll weld this thing together, smooth it out, polish it up. I was trying to find a 3-inch piece of cast that was like a 45 or something similar to this, but I guess no such thing exists, or at least I can't find it. So just using a regular standard charge tube with our cast 90s. And they do not actually make as tight of a radius as this in a normal charge tube size, like out of this extruded aluminum. So otherwise, if they did, I would just use the extruded aluminum for the whole thing. But this is gonna look good still. I'm gonna do something, I'll coat it or paint it, or I'm not sure yet. We'll make it look pretty, don't worry. For blow-off valve placement, pretty simple. Just gonna go right in here, nice and tight, like so. And that should give us plenty of room in the engine bay. We don't have charge tubes going everywhere. Blow-off valve is nice and tight on the inside here. We should be good on clearance for everything inside the car when we go to put the engine in.
Question is, will it fit under the hood?
Will it fit under the hood? I think it will fit under the hood because I know for a fact that the hood clears the distributor, and the top, like, highest part of our intake is really only like 2.5, maybe 3 inches above the distributor, so I think it'll be fine. If it's not, I'm just gonna have to get a cowl hood, I guess. I don't know. More reason to spend money. All right, everybody, we have got our blower tube mounted, fully welded, not finished yet. I do want to fix the finish difference between this polished tube, the extruded tube, and the cast tube. What I'm going to do to fix that, I'm not 100% sure. I'll either do one or two things. I'll paint it to match the intake, and or I could polish this whole thing and just make this all one shiny piece of aluminum. That's also a good option. But for right now, I'm just gonna leave it exactly how it is for dyno purposes, just to move on to the next thing. We can see we got my mass air temp sensor, my blow off valve mounted, in position, ready to freaking rock. I might have to build a little extension piece on this mass air temp connector. I imagine it's gonna have to stretch pretty far. Other than that though, everything fits really nicely in here. There shouldn't be any issues interfering with the chassis, the hood. It's all pretty low profile. I mean, everything is lower than what the intake is, so we should be ready to go. Now all I need to do is put our lower pulley back on, put our belt on, and that's it, yeah. So we are a pulley and a belt away from boosting this little 302. Very exciting times. So let's get after it. Okay, we got our belt and our pulleys on. I've got my tube final welded with the temperature sensor hooked up. Blow-off valve is all good and plumbed right here. But I do have a confession to make, and that's I've already ran this engine twice. I know, because Nate wasn't here and it was later in the evening and I was getting impatient, so I just said, screw it, I want to run it right now. And I do have the video. I did get video from it, so I have Nate throw in the first pull right here. So basically what happened on that pull was I had just an enormous spark plug gap and it was making way too much boost on our 3250 pulley right here. It was making 8 pounds of boost at like 4,000 RPM, which is way too much boost for what we're trying to do, especially if I want to run it to 7,000. I have the rev limiter set at 7,000. So I just pulled back on that one early, gapped the plugs, and then worked on finding a bigger pulley. So I have the biggest pulley setup, the slowest, in other words, pulley setup that Torque makes. It's a 4-inch upper on their standard size lower. And I don't think that they actually make a different size lower. They might make a bigger one, but I'm pretty sure this is the only lower you can get for this kit. So the biggest, slowest pulley combo they make, and we were making about 9.5, 10 pounds of boost at 68 to 7,000 RPM. That's kind of where we're at on it right now. I did make one pull on it, and in that pull, we can go out here and look at the graph. So here is our graph from the very last pull that I did the other night. So this is with the slowest pulley combo, that 4-inch upper pulley. Did start to kind of lay over really after 5,800 or so RPM. But that's just because at that point it had hit a little bit of timing retard that I had in it, just because I'm trying to sneak up on this thing. I don't want it to make 700 horsepower on accident for some stupid reason, which it would have if I left that fast pulley on it. It would have spun up and made way too much power. And I can actually pull that graph up so we can compare that. Yeah, here was the pull that I bailed out on for obvious reasons, because this thing was, I mean, it's getting ready to get up here potentially, which is just too much for this engine at this point. Maybe not, I don't know, but I don't want to find out. So we're back here on the slow pulley. Basically on this pull that we're about to do right now, after I get this thing warmed up, I just got more timing in it after 5,800 RPM to try and get it to rev out a little bit more and see if we can hit 500. Let's get to it, man. I'm excited. I'm excited and a little bit nervous.
Hey, if it blows up here, you don't have to take it back out of the car.
It blows up here, that's right. Now that's optimistic thinking. Hey, I like that.
actually a little bit smoothed out.
Yep. Well, I
Carry
guess
out
that
for
makes
you.
sense because it did pull a little bit of timing out of it just down lower there and added some up here. So that explains the difference here between the two grabs up top. Looking good, looking good. See how much boost it made here. So timing was okay, yeah, a little bit more flat than it was on the last data log, obviously because I took a little bit out here, added a little bit here. Closed loop is looking pretty reasonable. Wants a little bit fuel pulled out up there. There's no problem at all. And we were making about 11 pounds of boost at 69.83, 7,000 RPM right here. Revved up good, sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll work on the tune up a little bit more here and see what we need to do to make it carry out a little bit further. Maybe move that peak out. And we might be calling it done here. What do you think? We could put a faster pulley on it, make more power, but I would like to keep this engine alive. So being that we're at 480 horsepower basically already, it's probably, you know, peak horsepower is going to stay relatively the same. I'd like to see like 500 flat, just because I don't want to go over that by putting a faster pulley on it, because I really would like to keep this engine alive so I can use it and enjoy it in the car. But if you guys help me get some subscribers, get up to like 100,000 subscribers, I'll build another one of these and we will find what the actual limit of these engines is. And I'm just not going to do it on this one because I can't afford to blow it up and have to build another one. But if you guys help me do that, we'll do it. Our new tune is now ready to go. So I've come in here and added some timing all through after 5,600 RPM. Really in between like 5,700 RPM, I ramped some more timing in just to try and get that graph to carry out some more, maybe touch 500. I don't know. We'll see. There's only one way to find out. Ain't that right, Nate?
That's right.
That's why we're going to do it.
A little bit of limiter action.
There. Little limiter action. It made his peak a little bit further out that time. Did it? We'll find out.
Oh yeah, that's really flat.
Yeah. It did get better. So it made its peak, you know, right here at 5,800, but it's making darn near the same horsepower all the way out here to like 6,800.
Darn near.
Darn near. Right on, guys. We're looking pretty good. I might look at the plugs and we're so close. We're 10 horsepower away from 500. I just want to hit 500 and then I might even back it down after I hit 500. Just, I want to say that I did it. So we'll go in there. I'll look at plugs real quick. I'll show you guys the plugs I'm working with and we're getting pretty close to being done. All right. They're still looking good, man. I swear, guys, these plugs have not looked any different since I first started this engine up. It's amazing. Like I've kept adding timing, we added boost, we dynoed it NA, and then put the blower on it, you know, messing with everything, messing with fuel, and the spark plugs look the exact same. Just nice and safe. Timing really has not ever crept its way past like right here where my fingernail is. Our fuel is looking good. I might add just a little bit more fuel based on our mass air temp sensor here. It's not getting super hot or anything during the pull, but just want to make sure we're keeping stuff safe when it's not intercooled. With that being said, everything's looking good, so we're gonna add a couple more degrees and try and get this thing to 500. Oh my goodness.
It's the magic spot.
It just wants to be right there.
No, that's a
66. That's pretty high.
RPM.
That's a lot higher.
Yeah, it moved that peak way out.
Timing is your friend.
Gosh, that's so good looking.
That was a flat.
It just like, it really is comical. It did not want to make 500. It's like, maybe this is a sign.
No, it wants to.
Maybe it will break
It
at
wa-
501.
It wants to.
Okay.
Making a perfectly flat power curve.
All right. Well, I guess to look at the plugs and probably add 2 more degrees, and I bet you it'd have to do it.
Just from
Just
6,000 and above.
From 6,000 and above. So it is. I mean, the plug looks the exact same. It's not. Yeah, we can keep putting time into this thing, no problem.
You said you put extra fuel in it, right?
I did put just a tiny bit more fuel in it up top there. If I didn't put a little bit more fuel up top there, it probably would have made 500, but I'm trying to go about this as safely as possible. So I did add a little bit of fuel. But now that I know the spark plug looks so good, and I mean, things are just, they're working well. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple more degrees, and there's no way. It's been picking up, 10-ish horsepower every time I add timing, so another 2 degrees, it should make just over 500. Let's go. That's a 511 horsepower small block. And it's still in one piece. It did not split in half.
Didn't you tell me you wanted it to be at 6,800 RPM?
That's exactly where I told you I wanted it to. So it's 6,800 RPM, 511 horsepower. So we can see that our graph kind of picked up mostly everywhere. This was not actually a physical timing change. This was a change somewhere else in the system that is right here. Let me get my data log out of the way first here. That was a change that I made here in our inductive delay. So I changed that number to 50. We were actually at 1. So adding timing, or not timing, you're adding an inductive delay here that actually increases timing with RPM, because the inductive delay number is to account for latency when the engine is spinning higher and higher RPM. So making that number bigger to simplify it for people to understand. To make this number bigger, it will gradually add more timing, physical timing at the spark plug with more RPM because of latency. And there's a lot of things going on in there. So it didn't actually change the timing. Where we ended up for timing, we were at right about 24 degrees. When you look back at our data log, we are at, 24 degrees and 7,100, 7,000 RPM. Man, you cannot complain about that. Keep in mind, this is mostly stock 302 small block Ford with an Eagle drop-in rod. That's really nothing fancy. Cam, timing chain gear set, ported heads, then the Explorer intake, the throttle body, and the torque storm. So this is like super, super simple small block Ford 302 build that obviously we've just made 500 horsepower with. And things are looking really good. We're gonna go take one more look at the spark plugs. I'll pull the valve covers off, check the lash, and this thing's ready to rip, man. Spark plugs out, and check this out, guys. It looks, imagine that, identical. The spark plug has not changed yet. So we could easily keep adding timing to this thing, and it will continue to keep making horsepower. But to what end? I'll tell you what end. It's when the block
the block's end.
Yeah, the end. So that's looking really good. This engine really is ready to roll. The only thing I'm gonna change or maybe reconsider is our actual water pump for when it's in the car, because we did have an interference issue with our electric water pump coming down, and it actually will hit this pulley right here. So I really wanted to run an electric water pump on this, so I might figure out how to do that. If not, I actually have a mechanical water pump that will just work right here. So this is an old pump that was on my original engine that was in Blueberry years and years ago when I first built that car. Other than that, just power steering pump needs to be mounted on this side. Accessories are all good to go. Alternator goes right here. Intake gonna be coming off and getting painted. Secret color, not gonna tell you until you actually see it, but a couple of people, I will say, guessed it in the comments. A couple of people maybe won't be surprised. This wraps up our 302 small block Ford budget lower build. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you for leaving comments, liking, watching the videos. Leave another comment if you guys want to see something else. If I missed something, there's always tons of smart people in the comments, like giving me advice and whatever. It's pretty cool. So I'm Kyle. Thanks for watching my channel, and I'll see you next time.